See what we got going. Oh shit. Alright. See if this is working. Alright. Gotta do some things real quick. I'm actually beginning to think of this crap here. That one still not opening. Alright. Can everybody hear me alright? Just want to make sure you can hear me. Alrighty. So you said you can hear me. Alright. Oh, yeah, I can hear me too. Alright. So I guess this is better. Alright, now I'm going to do something where we're gonna fly on hope today for a few minutes. I hope this actually works. And what's up, Dexter? Now back to what I was saying before. The video that dropped yesterday was the first part of what we're going to talk about today, and then I'm going to go into some other stuff. Because when the video dropped or whatever, as you come in, hit that like button. As you come in, hit the like button. Oh my God, turn that down. All right. So there were a lot of people that came in that sent me emails, got phone calls, got text messages, comments, and we were doing more apologizing or excusing the actions of the officers versus saying, you know what, no, they need to follow law. But then we made excuses of the law which they should follow, which is not the supreme law. And these are the things that leave us in those mystical places because we're looking for apologies for them to do what they're supposed to be doing that they took an oath to do. And then we're looking for justification because no one's holding them accountable. So when you're looking at that 95% of people that don't hold them accountable, that don't actually fight back, and we're saying, well, since they didn't fight back, it's okay. So that must mean they were right. That's the problem. Because when they interrogated a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old for 14 plus hours without food, it was wrong. But when a police officer actually worked 14 hours, we felt sorry for them because that's too long to be working. But it's not too long to interrogate a child. These are the things that I actually want to bring ideals to. And these are the things that I want to discuss because we're looking for ways to not hold people accountable for the jobs that they choose to do. Just like everyone expects me to give you the factual law. And the funniest thing is, I've had more conversations about things that I am directly reading verbatim than I have about stuff that I just pulled off the internet. That is amazing to me. That is the most dumbfounding thing I've ever heard of in my life. Is because even the other day when I did the live and I read directly from the Philadelphia Police Department's handbook, I was told that that's not right. That's not that's speculation. I read it verbatim from their handbook. But this is one of the things why I talk about you can't argue against yourself. Because if you can't follow your rules, why should you expect me to listen to anything that you have to say? And even in one context, because it's another dude that I've been dealing with, and it was funny because a lot of times people come to me for help, for assistance. And I want to say last month, I've actually been talking about the people that you're going out your way to pay. I've been talking about people such as defense attorneys and how they're not on your side, how they are on the other team. And these are the things that whenever I bring them up, people have issue with. I gave you an example with Sudlow and Sudlow in Harris County, Texas. I spoke about certain aspects of things that they were allowing the DA that said, we're only going to work on evidence-based justice, but refused to turn over any evidence they had. How does that work? But we're supposed to be okay with that, according to most people's context of what's going on. And I appreciate you, D. The thing is, I'm going to show you something because it's something that was sent directly to this attorney. Matter of fact, here we go. I'm actually putting him up now. Let's see how we do this. This attorney that you see right here, bow, right there, under my arm, boom. This guy right here, he's a Florida attorney. And he's down at well, I believe it's Fort Myers. And you know what? Actually, Dexter, it does take work, and lawyers are lazy, and they try to get a plea agreement. And that's the reason that I have a problem with 95% of the things that go on. Because when you only have 5% of the people fighting back, that's the problem. Because then we excuse the actions whenever there is not law that's being followed, and we accept blame for things that we haven't done. Because here's the great part, because even whenever I was going through and they were trying to force an attorney on me, the very first thing that each and every person that I spoke to that was supposed to be a defense attorney said to me was, you need to take the deal. The best deal that I got was 15 years per charge, and I was charged with 108 counts of racketeering. So you do the math. That was the best deal I got. There were people that went to prison for 5 years for not committing a crime, but because they were scared. So that's why when someone said, oh, well, they took a guilty plea, that doesn't mean they did anything. That just meant they were scared to fight back. That doesn't mean that a crime was committed. That didn't mean the person that they took the plea for was, had standing. It doesn't mean anything. That just meant they were punks and they were scared. Or they were looking for convenience. That was it. See, the problem is I'm a jackass that has nothing else better to do. This is what I do. This is my life. I live this every day, day in, day out. That's what I do. So my father used to refer to me as a fool with a purpose. And the problem is my purpose is you leave me alone, I'm going to leave you alone. We're good. Because I have no qualms. Because I even have a conversation. I don't know if I've said this on here. But I had a conversation with a cop in Louisiana about a year ago. And I happened to be on the phone when the whole, encounter started. And it was something simple. They were stopping the young lady, and I was kind of, "What's up, Roberto? I actually saw your comment the other day." Absolutely, Dexter. But so I was filming the encounter. It nothing went on. He did everything by the book. You know, no harm, no foul. I was going on about my day. Young lady went on about their day. Now, the guy was with. Thank you, Uncovering America. So while I'm sitting there on the phone, two police officers approached me. One officer asked me for my ID, and I asked him for what. It was just for me. It's just an automatic response because even whenever I was my youngest son was born, the first thing we taught him was I do not consent. He used to get on my nerves because he used to tell that shit to me. I don't consent. I don't consent. I don't consent. Well, you better get your little butt over here before you get beat up. But anyway, what happened was the simple fact that this officer became insistent. So I said a couple of things to him, and his partner told him, "Hey, man, just let it go." Because he even asked, I said, "Hey, I have no problem telling you what I was doing." I said, "Hey, I was watching y'all encounter over there. You did everything great. I have no qualms. It was it." So again, "Oh, you're going to give me this. You're going to give me that." And the more insistent he got about getting my ID, the more angry I got because it was pointless. And then again, everybody, it was over with. Why are you still here? That was my thing. Because yes, they do have the right to speak to anyone they like. It was a consensual conversation. The problem was my consent was leaving because again, I'm on the phone. I ain't got time for this foolishness. But he said, "Well, I'm going to take you in." I said, "Oh, so you're going to force ID me," which is illegal because I don't have to participate in your investigation. I said, "Here's the tea heat." I said, "You ready?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to allow you to arrest me." I said, "And I'm going to give you my ID." I said, "Because what's getting ready to happen is tomorrow I'm going to change every plan I have and I'm going to move to Louisiana just to sue your ass for everything you got in federal court because you're making a choice, a conscious choice not to follow law." The conversation then shifted because he knew, one, everything I had said prior now has merit. My facial expression had changed. Now, had there been a different type of police officer there, could that have been a different situation? Absolutely. But the whole thing is, I am a fool with a purpose. If you're not going to honor the badge, take it off. I actually had one told me I don't shake hands. I told him if you're that angry doing your job, eat your gun. Quit putting on that uniform because that uniform is for brave individuals. That uniform is for people like my boy John. I'm not going to give you John's last name. He still don't want me to give it to you, but it's cool because he's still working. John has been shot twice in the line of duty. John is still the nicest person on earth. John does not answer. When he stops someone, he doesn't immediately write them a citation. He doesn't get huffy with them. He does his job. John goes home. John now rides by himself because he doesn't allow any type of fuckery in his presence. He reprimands those that are around him. He holds his brothers and sisters accountable for their actions because escalating a situation is not how to police. There should never be an attempt to apologize for someone not doing a job properly when they're being paid six figures to do so. They're not grocery store clerks. They're not the dudes at McDonald's. Because I expect, on occasion, if I go somewhere to a fast food place, there's a bunch of children there. I expect them to screw my order up. I don't expect someone that is being paid $100,000 to do their job to not be good at it. I'm sorry. It's just like Chris Rock said. Some jobs can't have bad apples. And if you can't hold your brother and sister accountable for their actions, do you care about them? What's up from Ireland? I appreciate you. You know what? I was actually wondering, I'm going to get back on topic in a second. How in the hell am I so listened to out in Ireland, because you guys are actually, I think, 40% of my listening base, and like I'm pretty sure we don't have the same system, but I'm you're 40% of the base out there in Ireland, so I appreciate you guys. But anyway, now back to this young man that's on screen. Well, this young man, because again, people ask me to help them out with certain things. Now, one of the things that we know because of Supreme Court cases, which is the supreme law of the land, that state courts and state mandates have to comply with federal guidelines. Now, when we look at something, I put together most of the time when I'm looking at certain people's stuff, I'll say, all right, well, cool, here you go. And I set up a discovery list or template motion, whatever, for them. Right? This is your motion for your case, because each motion for discovery will be a little bit different. Not much, but a little bit. And I gave a guy one, and I said, whatever's not on this list, send it over to your attorney, which is this guy, and tell him he needs to request it, because I'm going to do a video that drops next week that talks about why most cops that are working more than 5 years, Dexter, most cops, when they reach year 5, because the starting salary, even in fuck-ass Augusta, as sorry as it is, starts at $45,000. That's the start. Seattle starts at $65,000. West Covina, most cops that I have sued, most cops, even here in Texas, most cops start out at $75,000 or better. They're right along the guidelines, right along the same way with Border Patrol. And what's up, Robin? And I can only think the only cops that I've sued that did not make 100,000 were less than 5 years on the force. Because generally in most major cities, because that's where I lived at, Dallas, Atlanta, hell, most of the ones I've dealt with in El Paso are right below 100K, but most make 6 figures. Every cop I sued in California makes 6 figures. And I think every cop I've sued in Texas made 6 figures. All of them were settlements. No one went to trial. But anyway, when you're going through this, you have a set of guidelines. Now, I'm going to give you 2 things. The first one I'm going to give you is the federal rules of discovery. Rule 16 of discovery and inspection. And then what I'm going to read to you is something that I found interesting, because I tell everybody everything I'm saying can be looked up and seen and all that good stuff. The best part about this is the fact that every state has this thing called the organic code. Every state has it. So I'm going to run through this, and you know what? Just for shits and giggles, let me see if I can find the actual document I'm talking about. Because the attorney that you see on screen didn't like it a whole lot. Give me a half a second, because see, I start brainstorming and all right. Now, okay, there we go. There go T. All right, there go T. Now, I'm gonna give you kind of an overview because I'm going to read my most for discovery. Now, I put the accused blank is requesting the prosecutor turn over discovery by as required by law and protected the appearance of due process and the preparation of a fair trial. Now, why do I put that verbiage in there? It's because, again, it's required by law in the organic code as well as the, what the hell? Boom. There we go. It's required by the organic code as well as federal law. And to protect the appearance of due process. That is law, the appearance of due process. Because this is one of the things where I talk about harmful error or harmless error. Because if I'm requesting it, this is one of the things that kind of makes sure that all right, I'm attaching something to it, because now later they can't use harmless error because I use the context, because words have power, the appearance of due process and the preparation of a fair trial. Why? Because under the Constitution, every person is granted the opportunity to prepare for a fair trial. Washington v. Texas, that is the one thing I keep giving you, because you have the right to prepare. You have the right to defend. You have the right to confront. You have the right to face. These are the things that most of us kind of overlook. But this is why the words have power. You keep it simple, you keep it direct, and it's why? It's because one of the things that an attorney told me, years ago, was he liked a lot of the motions that I did because I closed doors behind me. But what that also does is that also closes their doors and preps for later if something happens. Because again, remember, I'm not going into this wanting to win every battle. That's stupid. You're not going to win every battle in a corrupt system. There's going to be something you overlook. There's going to be something you're going to miss. There's going to be some sort of surprise. Because the only thing you have that lays out everything in front of you is the fact that there's a track record for any and everything. Any and everybody. There is something there is laid out that you can and can't see. That does not change because the nature of the beast doesn't change. Only the players. And those are the variables, because even, again, y'all know I'm a basketball guy. I'm also a Lakers fan. Well, everybody knew about LeBron and AD. But who do you prepare for as that third person? Well, the Lakers allow for that third person to be fluid, because most people will say, you know what, Kuzma needs to be that third guy. Well, some nights that third guy was Caruso. Some nights that third guy was Kuzma. But most nights that guy was KCP. A lot of nights that guy was Rondo. So they allowed that variable to be just that, a variable. It didn't have to be one set thing or one set person. That is the same thing that you have to be when you're here. You have to be like water. You have to be able to adapt to anything that's coming in front of you. You have to be prepared not only for the things you do see, but for the things you don't see. Now, and also, the reason why there are very few Brady violations is simply because most people do not request discovery. So that is the out. And going through the out is if you don't request it and you're not specific. Those are means that allow the prosecutor to say, well, I didn't know I had to turn that over because you're not specific. But again, that's a video for later. Now we're going to go into, I hereby request that is not limited to disclosures to the following. Now, the request I'm doing and using the words, but is not limited, means there may be something that's not specific in what I'm asking for, but it's relevant to what's being brought up. Now, I've only had one instance of that, and it's because the prosecutor didn't want to turn it over, but it was something that was brought up later. And that's any and all audio associated with the above charges. Now, I'm going to go into something else that deals with this statement in particular, because there's an additive. I'm going to speak about how it can be included in your discovery request. And it can be set on either the discovery request or something else. But it starts off with that. Any and all audio associated with the above stated charges, to include any and all communications made to and from all officers on the scene. Why? I need to be specific. All officers on the scene. Because we're talking about those charges, that scene, which would include the call from the officer to report to the scene, the emergency call made to request services, the call made and received by officers during the first contact. Why? Because now I'm outlining police procedure, things that have to be done. Things such as there's a reason for them to be there. There has to be a lawful reason for them to be there. That is the call that gets them there. When they actually first make contact, what do they have to do? They have to radio in that they're making contact. Again, these are police procedures. These are not limited to one place. This is every place. Why? Because this is a form of their protection. And then you also need those transmissions. Any and all video associated with the above charges, which would include, but not limited to, unaltered dash cam and body cam footage. Why do I say unaltered? Because 24% of the videos that we get in any, no, that's a low ass number. That's not even a quarter. 24% of all video that we get that goes to trial don't come from police. And then the videos, and everyone that I'm dealing with can attest to this, the videos that they're getting from the police officers, they are altered. Either the video is altered or the audio is altered or both. It doesn't come in the state that it was given. Now, here's the greatest question. If we're going to apologize for these police action and they are doing the right thing, why are they hiding video? Why are they not turning over evidence? Why are they lying in their police reports? But these are the people that people are looking to protect. These are the things that people are looking to overlook. These are the things that people are fighting me to accept. But if they're the good guy, if they're the guy I'm supposed to trust, why are they not doing the things that make them look better? Why are they doing things that don't allow me to trust them? Because those are the things that I have the question about. Now, one, of course, now we're going to the similars. The arrest warrant, the arrest warrant application, the search warrant. Because with me, it's natural I'm not giving you consent. I've never given consent. And then you want the search warrant application. I've actually had a few people get those things. They actually did it off the bat. And that's actually one of the best things. Because if the application for the warrant is not factual on its face, everything from the search is then not admissible. Those are things that most people don't even think about getting. Because even one of the things when you're incarcerated, when you're locked up, when your liberty is taken, one of the things before you walk out of that jail is get a proof of incarceration. Because again, they'll lie about the amount of time either you were in jail, or they'll lie about when you were picked up, or there's always a discrepancy. Because they don't hold themselves accountable or to a higher standard. Why? Because nobody else does. So why change what you're doing if you're not doing it right in the first beginning and people are okay with it? So just keep that in mind. You want the itemized copy of all the items recovered. Because again, not all of this stuff is relevant. So you're not going to have all these in there. You're not going to have the copy of the transmission, which prompted the initial officer to make the stop. Because a lot of times, if it is a traffic citation, they're going to run it in to see something. They're going to get a witness contact list. They're going to do something. And again, when we're talking about Brady v. Maryland, the reason why there are so few is because, I got a message. Okay, Sergio. The question that Sergio asked is, Supreme, is there a law where it says that I have to follow all this man-made laws? Now, here's the great part about that. I don't know of any rule that says you have to follow any law. I even speak about the fact that all of this derives from human rights because you have the right to be free too. Now, what happens is most of us don't know the separation because we're not taught, we're not privy, which is why I have a channel, because most of us don't have a full understanding of the application of what it is that we're looking at. Because when we're talking about law, most of us are talking about, I just posted a video, tell my people to come to you. Okay. Oh, appreciate you, man. Um, but most people don't understand the application of what it is they're looking at. And they're looking at statutes, codes, and ordinances as law, when in fact they have to be supported by something. Because remember, I told you, when we're talking about things that are probable cause is something that's tangible. Oh, thank you, No Name and DD. Well, DD, you know what, DD, we're going to have to call you DD number 2. All right, appreciate you, champ boys. But what we have in the fact is the fact we're not requesting these things. Because even in the video where I talked about do this first, there's a reason why you do the entry of appearance. There's a reason why you do a specific discovery motion. There's a reason why you do the what is that? The speedy trial. Because again, you use the speedy trial as a weapon. And I'll tell you about all that stuff as we go along, because at the end of the day, we're looking at something and we're looking for it to grow into something, because these are just pawn pieces. Your emotions are just pawn pieces, because the ultimate thing that you're looking for is how much law or how much justice are you looking for from this particular situation. So that's why when a lot of times when someone asks me, well, they took a guilty plea. Well, 90% of all court cases never see the inside of a courtroom. So that means there's a lot of deal making. When you look at 95% of all people take some sort of deal, that means 95% of people are okay with what's going on and are not fighting back. So the questions to me deal with the 5%. I deal with the minority. I deal with those that want to fight back. I deal with those that have that warrior spirit. I deal with those that say, you know what? Because again, I'm going to use the Steve Harvey thing. I don't care if you have a video with me with my social security number tattooed on my ass. You still got to get 12 white folks and Jesus to say I did it. I'm not giving it to you. I can't give it to you. And it's horrible to say it like that, because even with me, I didn't have an all-white jury. Matter of fact, I didn't have anybody that was white on my jury, which was the most phenomenal thing I'd ever seen in my life. But what happened was I did have people that had a mindset of, what is that? What is this I'm looking at? What are these words that are coming out of his mouth? What are the things that are being done, said, and executed? So when you have someone like this gentleman that's on the screen saying, you know what, you can't ask for that. Now, because you heard what I asked, I didn't ask for anything that shouldn't be there. I asked for communication. I asked for the warrant application. I asked for the warrant. I asked for items that will be searched. Now, let's see what the federal rules of discovery and inspection go under. The first part of that, information subject to disclosure. Defendant's oral statement. Defendant's written statement or recorded statement. Documents and objectives. Upon a defendant's request, the government must permit the defendant to inspect or copy books, papers, documents, data, photographs, tangible items. Remember, you got to be able to touch it. Buildings or places, or copies or portion of all these items in which the government's possession, custody, or control. Now, you know what? Let me stop there. Let me stop there because I'm going to go back to it. Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.220, discovery. The first thing you do is notice of discovery. Now, the federal rules say they have 10 days upon notification. So once you file that motion and you hand that filed copy to the prosecutor, they have 10 days to turn that over according to federal rules. Now, notice of discovery. After the filing of the charges document, a defendant may elect to participate in the discovery process. Notice it's a choice of the defendant because the defendant is the one with the right to defend themselves, including the taking of discovery depositions. By filing with the court and serving it to the prosecuting attorney a notice of discovery, which shall bind both the prosecuting and defendant to all discovery procedures contained in these rules. The prosecutor's discovery obligation. Within 15 days of the service, so give them a couple extra days, because when they're talking about 15 days, they're pretty much not including Sunday. So it's a little more than 2 weeks. Because when you're talking about the 10 days from the feds, they don't include weekends and holidays. So they kind of work out. A day or two, nobody's going to harp about, and plus they actually have an opportunity to file for an extension, so your 10 days actually can grow to about 30. So as long as it's done and it's specific. Written discovery shall disclose to the defendant and permit the defendant to inspect, copy, test, photograph, and the following information. A list of names and addresses of all known to the prosecutor who have information that may be relevant. That was number 13 on my list, which was witnesses. In Florida, you can ask about that. Eyewitnesses, alibi witnesses. Now, here's the great part about this. I'm going to go back into it. But the reason why you do alibi witnesses is because you're looking to explain your side, which no one cares about. Because once you give an alibi, you now have to prove it. Why? Because anytime someone says something, it has to be backed by evidence or it's considered hearsay. Even your affidavits. Your affidavits must be backed by evidence or it's hearsay and inadmissible. And what I mean by evidence, evidence is tangible. Probable cause is tangible. And the investigating officers. Now, the statement of any person whose name is furnished in compliance with the proceedings. Any written or recorded statements, blah, 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 blah. Statements, material, because again, those will be the officer's scene reports or scene logs. Whether there has been any search or seizure and documents relating to thereso. So, the search warrant application and the search warrant. Whether there have been any electronic surveillance, including wiretapping, which would be all video and audio. This is Florida. Notice I'm in Florida. I'm not on the federal rules. I'm on Florida. Hold on. You got DNA because a couple of these don't even, because this is so thorough, it's not even funny. Okay. Yeah, because see, again, the things I've asked for: witness list, search and arrest warrants, search and arrest warrant applications, video and audio from everybody out there are the exact things that are listed in the Florida Rules of Discovery 3.220. They're the exact things that are listed under documents and objects under the Federal Rules of Discovery and Inspection. So this young man is actually taking it upon himself to state he's not going to put on a vigorous defense, because asking for those things goes against what he wants to do, what he deems is right, and what he wants to vilify, because he's not wanting to put on a vigorous defense. Now, the thing that you can do to combat that, the greatest part about that, is now not only because he's a paid attorney, he's now under the guise of ineffective assistance of counsel. Because remember, he's your employee. He is liable for ineffective assistance of counsel because you're giving him a direct job to do. He's refusing to do that job. He is now liable for all those things that result from the ineffectiveness of doing that job. These are the things that a lot of criminal defense attorneys that charge you guys just tons of money and don't do anything. Put that on. I don't know why that was off. Gotta keep that on. But these are the things I want to point out, because at the end of the day, you have to do things that protect you. You have to understand how these things apply to you. So I don't give you things that you can't go back and research. Because again, if I was, why would I tell you I am looking at the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, Rule 16, Discovery and Inspection. The other laid out form of discovery is Rule 26. That's the more in-depth rule of it. I wouldn't tell you I'm looking at the Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, Section 3.220, Discovery. I wouldn't even put this man's face on the screen if I was not 100% sure in reading what it is that I'm talking about. This ain't stuff that I pull out my ass and say, hey, go do this, go have fun. This is stuff that I do. Because the great part about this is not only in Florida, it's in Georgia, it's in Texas, it's in California, it's in Illinois. And Illinois, I got a surprise for you guys that's coming up, because I found something codified in their documentation, in their organic code, that allows you guys to file a motion because of, let's say we have a traffic citation and they don't want to turn over discovery. Let's say they have something that's set before you that does not allow you to I'll go back. Sergio, you know me and you always come up with these extra stuff. I need you to stay focused, Sergio. Stay focused. But anyway, what you have to understand is the fact that you are the one that have to go through and hold them accountable for the things that they're doing. You have to be the one that hold their feet to the fire. Because now when you're looking at this, everything I'm saying has a little bit more validity. Because now it's not me saying something. It's something tangible that you can point to. It's something you can say, you know what? Maybe that big mouth bastard actually knows what he's talking about. Because It's something I can touch. I can put my hands on. It's something I can see because I'm looking at it with my own eyes. He's not just talking. And I think that's the thing that separates me from everybody else. That's the thing that actually gives people a reason to watch this channel. That actually gives a reason to come back to this channel. And thank you, Free Church, 26.3. Thank you. See, I'm just rattling off numbers. He's giving you exacts, the exact same thing. Why? Because I'm not just talking. This is something he looked up while I'm sitting here having this conversation, while I'm saying this. This is not just random. Nobody's doing this just because. There is a point to everything that we're doing. And I'm not just giving you information saying, go run off and have fun with it. No, I'm giving you direction. I'm offering you an opportunity to see something that's better. Because right now our system is broken. And it's not because the system itself is broken. It's because we're not using the application necessary to hold it accountable and to fix it. That's what we have to do. Now, you guys are welcome to hit that Cash App. Super Chat is open. I love you guys. T-shirts are going up. There's another video coming on today. I love you guys. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing. And Supreme, you already know what it is.